Yeah, hello everyone. This is Lucas Bashir, and you are welcome to tonight's discourse on Israel and Palestine conflict. We are waiting for the arrival of our guests, and we will be live shortly. So we await the arrival of our guests, and we will be here shortly. We have Usman Jafaru, who said Almighty God will intervene. We don't need this war. And we have Radio Boys Mama, said hello, hi to you. And please tell us where you are listening to us from or watching us from. We are going to be live on camera. It is not going to be you just seeing a dark screen. So I'm waiting for the guest, and you will be seeing my beautiful face tonight. We have Mr. Benjamin. Good.
How are you,
Mr.
sir?
Yeah, very fine. I am making an introduction. So we have about 30 seconds to 1 minute to get ourselves ready. All right. So I'm going to be on
Oh,
camera very soon. So let me just put up this for the audience. So I yeah, okay. Um yeah. Good evening everyone. This is Lucas Bashir, Bashir Lucas Samson Lukman, and you are welcome to tonight's discourse. We have three listening to us or watching us from Canton, Ohio. We have okay listening from this should be Texas, I think. So we would be waiting for um our audience. For those who have no, okay, we have Olushina. Yeah, okay. Olushina is one of our guests. He needs to connect his cam or mic before he can be added to the stream. So he's going to, I think, fix that in a short while. Okay. Olushina, you can use the private chats to communicate with us. Okay. We have the Israel-Palestine conflict that has been going on for a whole number of years. I think since when the state of Israel was created in 1948. So we've had wars. Okay, we have, okay, okay, good. My power is back, and that is so great. So I have my power back, and so let me get this off. And I think I can also get this off as well. Okay. Um, as it's stored. So we have okay. So Mr. Okay, we have KB around. That is KB. Hello, Mr. KB. Can you hear me?
yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
All right. Mr. Olushina Ijadmola is not getting his mic and camera. I think he should try fix that. Uh, Yeah, thank you, Tree. Amen to that. I think yeah. So we are streaming live on Facebook as well as on YouTube simultaneously. Okay. We will be waiting for other guests. We sent out messages to others, and they should be with us shortly. So a quick background to the discourse for those who do not have an idea. For more than a week now, I've heard of violence, killings, rockets and orders and all that between Israel and Palestine, and not less than 50 people were reported to have died. And we look at Israel, we look at Palestine, or let's even put Jerusalem, we get to discover that it is a historical place, site, we have the Christians, the Jews, and the Muslims, they lay claim to it. So as much as we have history, as much as we have people talking about their lands, about territory, we also have people who have religious interests. So we cannot ignore the fact that there is a political, cultural, and religious interest as far as Jerusalem, Israel, Palestine is concerned. So I have Mr. KB here with me. Mr. KB, sorry, I did not get that. KB, what's KB, sir?
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm listening.
Oh, okay. So we are waiting for others. I am sending messages out. Okay. So Mr. Lushina is not getting is Mr. Lushina, would that be Mr. Israel? I want to think so. He's not getting um he's not getting his cam and his mic. What do we do to that? Please use the comment, the private chat, Mr. Lushina. So just tell us what the problem is. And so Mr. KB, what side are you taking tonight?
Definitely, I'm on the side of justice, and I'm on the side of the Palestinians who are the oppressed at the moment.
Okay, so we have but Mr. Olushina, we need you to fix your cam. We need you to fix your microphone so you join us. And yeah, exactly. There is no way you can join us from the private chat. We have to hear you. So you can't join us with the private chat. I can't read your comments out to the general public. If you don't want to share your face, it's fine. You can just use the microphone. Okay. All right. So we are waiting others. So we have Mr. KB who is on the side of Palestine. And so let's say we have Muslims, Christians, and Jews who have their interest, most especially the Zionists. And I think people have differentiated between Zionists and Jews because there are some who do not agree with Israel as far as that uh, this killing and this whatever it is called. I don't want to say oppression because I think I'll just be moderating up tonight. Okay, we have Mr. Okay. All right, so I will just be moderating. If I would be jumping in discussion, I would have to plead with the guest because it's a very interesting topic that I've written on a couple of times. And we have Mr. Ahmed Zakaria. Mr. Ahmed Zakaria, please, good evening.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please, we can hear you loud and clear. You're welcome.
Okay, thank you very much.
Fine. So we would be waiting for others. Okay, we are waiting for Mr. Benjamin at DBC. We are waiting for Abu Mazida. We are waiting for Abu Bakr Rashid, and I think that should be it. And as well as Mr. Olushina Ija Dwala. So yeah, we have a whole lot of we have different people with different opinions as far as this situation is concerned. So on one hand, we have those who want a total justice, calling for justice for the Palestinians because they feel that the land of the Palestinians is being wrongly occupied. Uh, Other than that, we also have people who are pro-Israel. They believe that the land belongs to the Israelites. Okay, Olushina Ijadola, fantastic. All right, so Mr. Olushina Ijadola's, okay, yes, loaded. So yeah, so we also have the pro-Israeli who believe that this land belongs to Israel and that there's justification for anything that Israel lays claims to. Mr. Olushina, good evening. Yeah, good evening, Mr. Olushina. Oh yeah, fantastic. Can you hear me loud and clear?
I'm hearing you.
All right. Please, if you hear any, if you have echoes at your end, you can just try use earphones. I think that would nice. All right. So, yeah, please, whatever comments you have, please put it in the comment section. We have people watching us from all parts. This is Ohio. This is Texas. We have Adegboye, a success only from Nigeria. We have Uptown Bay Area. We don't know where you're watching from. All right. So yeah, I was given different opinions that we have as far as the situation is concerned. So we also have people who think that the Palestinians have excesses and they are not necessarily supporting Israel. And also, there are still some others who still support Palestine, but they are not necessarily against Israel in its entirety. So now we want to look at the situation, the history, and if we can discuss or look at solutions to it. Most importantly, we should understand because people get to ask that why do we have to discuss, why do we have to say this and all that? Well, it is very important to note. Please, there is an echo somewhere there. You can help us mute your audio or use an earphone, please. All right, thank you. So people keep asking, well, we don't want discussions, we want actions. But most importantly, one thing that we need to understand is that every action that we take, they seem to be products of our thoughts. Before we take actions, we think about them. And it is what we discuss, it is the conclusion that we arrive at. That is the action that we take. And also, we look at our word of today, we have got to discover that people do not necessarily hold, intellectual discussions. It is just goes on the social media. People want to drag your ass on Twitter. People just want to give you savage responses, and then so that is why we think it is important that we come up with an idea. We came up with the idea. I, Lucas Bashir, Adegboye K Success. I have Ashraf Adeyemo, Benjamin Adebisi, Sulaiman Aroso, and Prince Kamaruddin. We decided to start this idea in Osun State, Osogbo Freedom Park to be precise, to give us something like Speaker's Corner in London, where we can have people come together to discuss religion, philosophy, science, economy, and what we have. So we are going to get started, not to waste too much of our time. I think we have done a whole lot with the introduction. So I think others are going to join us along the line. So I will leave Mr. KB. You can spend a minute or two to tell us, just introduce yourself and what is your stance? So people get to know. Yeah.
Good evening, everybody, and from wherever um, everyone is watching from or participating from. My name is Olaiton Kabir. I'm in support of the motion that justice has to be served. It doesn't matter the religion, or it doesn't matter the ethnicity that is involved, but justice should be the focus. And the issue of Palestine and Israel is an issue that is a very simple issue, but when one side is not ready to solve a problem, even in a marriage, no matter how the parties in a relationship are, they must be willing. Both parties must be willing to solve the problem. If one party already has an agenda outside the situation on ground, no matter how logical or how well you're able to, resolve the issue as a intermediary, your work will be difficult because one party already have a different agenda, which is not to settle. So that's what the issue of Palestine is. There has always been a solution. You understand? There's always been a solution from day one, but there are ulterior motives playing in the whole thing, which has made the simple problem become more complicated. So I believe it's just when there is no balance of power in discussion in every situation, as human beings, we are bound to exploit the weaker person. So the imbalance of power played a major role in this affair. Just like back in history, when Hitler was in power, he was pounding the Jews. The whole world became sympathetic because we see that this is not a fair fight. Hitler was having the whole army, he was having the whole weapons. He has the whole political support of his German followers who are persecuting the Jews, and the whole world became sympathetic, and people got to their aid to help them, which even led to their migration, and all the European countries rejected them because they don't wanted them in their country, because it is like I'm not calling them, let me use this, they are like anywhere the food goes, the fly follows. They felt like keeping them in their environment will attract, because Hitler made them a target. So you abhorring them makes you even a kind of a target. All the European countries rejected them. So it's something that has a very complicated situation, because the only people who welcomed the Jews, who gave them a cold, a kind of a shoulder to cry on and a place to stay in the winter, were the Palestinians. They were welcomed into the Palestine and as brothers and sisters in faith, not as indigenous of the land, because many people make a mistake of thinking the Jews, European Jews, are the Hebrews who left Egypt. People who left Egypt. How can people who left Egypt just 20th century ago come back as Caucasians, people, Europeans, blue eye, blonde hair? It's not possible. This is Ashkenazis, and those are Jewish converts. Some Christians, after some centuries, some Christians in Europe converted to Judaism. We talk about different wars even between the churches. We have the Protestants against the Catholics. After some time, some people just abandoned the Christianity totally and became Jews and practiced Judaism as their religion. And there's particular ethnicity who took this as their own religion, and they intermarried. They married cousins. They didn't marry outside their Jewish culture. They created a kind of a small Jewish community in Europe, and they started intermarrying and interbreeding. They were marrying cousins, and they created a whole large population of a Jewish community, and they became the European Jews that we see today. And after the Holocaust, you know, the only relationship they have with Israel or with Palestine is the fact that they share a religion of the Abrahamic. You know, it's an Abrahamic faith. Is the relationship they have with Palestine. It's not about their indigenous or ancestry connection. The connection they have with Palestine is based on we share the same faith of is an Abrahamic faith, and you know, Palestine, or you call it Israel, where it's called Israel, where Jerusalem, and all these, you know, landmark of those great prophets. We all hold them as our prophets. Muslim hold Moses as a prophet, Christian hold him as a prophet, the Jews hold him as a prophet. So Abraham, all the religions hold him as a prophet, as a father of faith. So this is why Jerusalem is all, even as an African, I hold Israel as a place that is holy to me too. So I have connection with Palestine. So should I go there and claim it as my own? Because I have a religious connection to it. I get emotional when I see some sites, you know, being desecrated. I feel very bad, as if it's my home that is being desecrated, because I know the value of those places to my faith. So it's not about the ancestry connection the Europeans have with it. That's why we say that they have entitlements, or they are stakeholders in
Mr.
it.
All right, Mr. KB, thank you very much. I think let's make that let's put a pause to that introduction. We
Yeah.
have Ahmed Zakaria with us. Mr. Ahmed Zakaria, can you please tell us, just introduce yourself and tell us what position you are taking tonight?
Can you hear me? Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, my name is Ahmed Zakaria. Pertaining this Palestinian Israel issue, definitely every Muslim is with Palestine. That's number one on the side. Apart from that, every human, no human being will be happy seeing children and women dying. There is no human being that will be happy at those sides of women and children being removed from wobbles, houses being destroyed on children. There is nobody that will be happy seeing such kind of sights. Nobody will be happy seeing people, innocent people, migrants dying. Nobody will be happy seeing this kind of things. It doesn't make anybody happy. Once we start discussing about history and going back into history, who owns the land, who was there first, who is there first, who has the right over the land, this and that, we are going to waste a lot of time, because we can't discuss an issue that happened over 1,400 years in 1 hour or 2 hours or even in 24 hours. We can't finish it. A lot of things happened. But the issue that I want us to focus on is on the facts that, okay, these things that are happening currently in Palestine and Israeli issue, what is our own contribution? What is our stand? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that we say, okay, we stand with Palestine or this one stands with Israel. That's not what matters. We should stand with the truth that, okay, something is happening. People that are not supposed to be victims of this kind of war are dying. And no one should be happy that this kind of things are happening. That's the point that I'm trying to make. That's number one. Number two, when we want to argue facts, figures, and happenings and events, we should be factual and we should bring our sources and reasons. We should not just say, okay, Israel belongs, okay. Actually, the term Israel, what does it mean? We have to start from there. Israel, it's to us Muslims, and I can speak as a Muslim, Muslims believe Israel is Yaqub. So when you say even Israel, some Muslims believe that, okay, even naming it Israel is wrong. That's what some Muslims believe. That's from the beginning. So a lot of things, a lot of issues, they are very, very long issues that, okay, if we say we will start summarizing them, we are going to take the whole day. But the thing that we have to focus on is, okay, these things that are happening now, these people that are dying now, what can we do? Number one, as Muslims, as a Muslim, I personally, what can I do? Number two, as Nigerians, and Nigeria, we have both Muslims and Christians and even Jews and traditional religions. What is our role? What are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to be saying we support this side, should kill this side, or we should annihilate this side? What are we supposed to? Is that the right thing to do? Is that the right thing to do? Is that the sensible thing to do? That is what we are supposed to say. But once we start saying, okay, Israel belongs to Palestinians, oh no, Israel belongs to the Jews, we are going to waste a lot of time. Because history, from the beginning of history, is very complicated to say we go back to that time. So that is why we shouldn't focus on that. If we focus on that, it's a long time. History itself is usually written by the victors. It's those who win that write the history. So a lot of things that is not true has entered the history. Everybody has his own narrative of the history. And it's also related with religion also, this issue of Palestine and Qudus. Because Muslims believe that Qudus is a holy site and is a first Qibla. It was the first Qibla of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's the first site that he did salah to, and later it was changed to Mecca. So we the Muslims feel we have a connection with it. And the way that it was collected from the Muslims, it makes us very sad and unhappy. And the way the things changed. When the Prophet ﷺ died, Qudus was not in the hands of the Muslims. Later, it was during the time of Sayyidina Umar that it entered into the hands of the Muslims officially.
Mr. Ahmad Zakaria. I think we'll go into details after the introduction. Thank you very much
Okay?
for your statement. Yeah, we are having some comments and I'm putting them right on screen. We have Abu Mazidat al Khair with us. Good evening, sir.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Wa alaikum
السلام
salam wa
عليكم.
rahmatullahi wa
Assalamu
barakatuh.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, we have now. Fine. So we have Abu Mazidat al Khair with us. He is a historian. He knows a whole lot about the Middle East politics. But before we let him give us his introduction, Mr. Olushina Ijadnola, please can you please just introduce yourselves and tell us what position you are taking tonight? Mr. Olushina, I think he's frozen. Okay. We lost Mr. Olushina. I think he's going to be back. But before Abu Mazdatul Khair introduces himself, I think that it is important and necessary that we for some minutes also look at the history of either Jerusalem, Israel, or Palestine, because we have the political aspect, we have the religious aspect, and the historical aspect as well. So Israel lays claims to the land as well as Palestine. So that discussion will never ever be complete except we look at the history surrounding it. Okay, so we have Mr. Olushina who is back. So Mr. Olushina, are you with us? Yeah, Mr. Olushina, are you with us? I think he
Yes, I'm here.
has. All right, please, can you please introduce yourself and tell us what stance you are taking as far as the discussion is concerned? What's your position? What position are you taking tonight? Okay, Mr. Olishina, please introduce yourself and tell us what position you are taking tonight. Uh, well, I think his internet is bad, and I think he's pro-Israel, and he is here to tell us why uh, whatever is happening there can be justified, and why the land belongs to Israel, and well, whatever opinion he has, and I think he's going to make our discussion more interesting. So I would advise establishing that you probably move to a place where you have a better internet connection while we let Abu Asidatil Khair introduce himself and tell us what position is taken tonight. We hope to learn from him. So please, you're welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. I am extremely delighted to be part of this program. If each time there is a global controversy or controversy on the stage of the world, we have the opportunity of convening this kind of program. It would have eased a lot of tension because people would have had the opportunity of amplifying their views. Number one, I want to say that the Palestinian question is one issue that is so close to my heart. In 2001, I published a book.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
And
Yeah, it seems
a Palestinian. Can you hear me?
network.
Yes, we can, sir.
Yeah. So the Palestinian ambassador to Nigeria, Mr. Semir Bakar, who wrote the foreword to that book, and that was after my on this issue. I've always maintained a stand that Palestine is not only an Arab land or a land belonging
Yeah, I think.
about. Hello, hope I'm still
Yes,
online.
yes, sir. We are with you, sir.
When I talk about when I talk about Arabs, I refer to the Christian Arabs, the Muslim Arabs, and the Jewish Arabs. That's what I refer to. And when we talk about Jerusalem, it equally belongs to these three Abrahamic faiths. By Abrahamic faith, we mean Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. Each one of these faith systems has a claim to this particular piece of land. Jerusalem, for example, somewhere around there is Bethlehem. Bethlehem is an Arabic name, Arabic word. Baitul Laham, Baitul Laham, the house of meat, where animals are slaughtered, where meat are shared. That's why they call it Bethlehem, Baitul Laham. It is reported that Nabi Isa, Jesus Christ, was born around here. And also for the Muslims, we have the historical narrative that the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallam, had been taken on the Burak ride. There was a horse called Burak. Rasulullah had traveled on this horse from the first holy sanctuary in Mecca, in Haram Sharif, from there in Mecca down to Jerusalem during his trip of Al Isra wal Miraj, the celestial trip. So we also believe that it belongs to the Muslims. In the same way, the Jews have always been saying that they were living around this place, I mean, in those days. And for this reason, they believe that the place belonged to them. But the recent crisis, I'm not talking about the one that just occurred less than a month. When I talk about the recent crisis, I'm talking about the one that spans about 100 years, of about 200 years, was caused by a book titled John Dastard. John Dastard um, was a book written by a Jewish man, who by then was around 39 years of age, called Theodore Azul. The title John Dastard means the Jewish state. He wrote a book campaigning and agitating for a home for the Jewish people. Because around this time, I think the book was in 18, I mean, around 17th century, was published in 17th century, somewhere, sometimes around 1886 or something, or 1876. And he wrote this book saying that the Jews should come together, because around this time they were scattered around the world. There were Jews in Germany, there were Jews in different parts of the West, in the Holland, in Austria. Theodor Herzl himself had flourished around Austria, in Vienna. So he wrote this book, and with this book, he canvassed for a home for the Jewish people. And he predicted that this home for the Jewish people would be seen somewhere in the world map in the next 50 years. That was what he did. And when Jews read this book, they believed so much in what this young man had written, and they started mobilizing for it. They wanted a place. Palestine was not the initial suggestion. What Tido Azul was canvassing for was a home for the Jewish people, not necessarily in the Arab land of Palestine. No. In fact, they thought about Cyprus at a point. Then they even thought about a place in Africa, I think somewhere in Uganda, in East Africa. But when they sat down, a lot of things went into play. We must have heard about the Sky Packard Accord. We must have heard about the what do you call this, Balfour Declaration, and a number of things which I wouldn't want to go into because of the time. So then they resolved to absorb the Arab land of Palestine. They resolved that they would rather choose a place in the Arab world, and that was Palestine. And by early 30s, they started migrating from different parts of the world. There was a serious campaign for massive migration of the Jewish people from different parts of the world, of the Western world. They were migrating because Arabs are naturally known to be very generous and to be very accommodating. They welcomed them. Then the Mufti of Jerusalem then, I think, was Hajj Hosseini, and tried to caution his people that Jews are not supposed to be trusted. But the Arabs did not listen. They were selling their lands. They were giving them, welcoming them. And when they had grown to a certain percentage, just like we have in our country too, that when migrants come to a place and they have built a massive interest, then there might be clashes between the migrants and the indigens. So the same thing happened there. So occasionally there will be clashes between the Arabs and the Jewish people. This continued until, and this was around, then another thing even facilitated their settlement. That was the Second World War. We know what happened with Hitler. They said the Holocaust, how it killed a very high number of, large percentage of the Jewish people. This made them to think of the necessity to secure a place as a home. So they came down to the Arab land of Palestine, and after a number of clashes, and with the help of the Western power in 1948, a man called David Ben-Gurion. He was one of the Jewish leaders, one of their political leaders, at the Gallery of Art and Culture somewhere in Palestine. He declared the state of Israel. And there is one thing that really baffled the world at that time. Just less than 5 minutes when David Ben-Gurion declared the establishment of the Jewish state of Israel, something happened. The United States of America was the first country in the world to recognize the emergence of Israel and beating Russia to reach for only 5 minutes. So America recognized it after the declaration after 5 minutes. Then after America had done that, Russia recognized it. Then Britain, that had hatched the old plot, also came in to recognize it. Then France, all the superpowers, the post-Second World War superpower, they acknowledged the existence of Israel. And immediately after this was the commencement of the first Arab-Israeli encounter in Palestine. It was war. All the Arab countries, they mobilized forces to confront the infant Jewish state. Then that was the beginning. I want to believe that the land belongs to the Muslims, the Arab Muslims. I am not saying, there is no, even in some part of the Arab world, we have Christians and we have Jews. Take, for example, in Iraq, there are Iraqi Arabs Christians. In Egypt, we have Coptic Christians. In Syria, we have a very large percentage of Arabs who are Christians, and some of them are Jews. Even in Iran, that claims to be an Islamic republic, a Shia nation, I mean, there are Jews there in their parliament. The Jewish people, about 2%, they are represented in the parliament. So we do not say that the Jews and the Christians do not have a claim to the land. But what we can see from history, that this place had always been occupied by the Muslims. But if the Jews brings an argument that they were there much earlier in the time of Moses, before they were dispersed around the world, that they were there, that it was their original home, they were now coming to reclaim it. If that is their claim, then that means that all the places we all occupy today, like the Yorubas occupying the southwest Nigeria, the Igbos in the southeast, the Arewa people in the north of Nigeria, we will have to reshovel all of these places because some people were there before we came to occupy the place. So that means every part of the world would have to be reshoveled. That means those who are
All right,
presently
Sheikh.
occupying, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I
Thank you
mean,
very
that
much,
means
sir.
those who are,
I think
okay, thank you.
okay. Yes. I think that is, in fact, that is beautiful and very detailed for an introduction. Please, we have two more people who have not introduced themselves, and I want to know their stance for tonight. We have Mr. Benjamin Adibisi. Mr. Benjamin Adibisi is a lecturer at the University of Osun State. All right. So, and he's a Christian. So, you are welcome, sir. So, please, can you introduce yourself and tell us
Thank you
what
very
your
much.
position is tonight?
Yes, my name is Benjamin Adibisi. I work as an academic and a researcher, and for so long I've been interested in this battle. But well, I don't know why you tag me as complicated because I'm just straightforward about the whole issue. I've seen lots about the lies of the Israelis. And one thing that we had failed to understand is that Israel does not represent Christianity. Let's always get that right. Israel as a nation does not represent Christianity. And though there are, ancestral blessings that God is going to protect them or so, but one thing is this: we always look at the nation Israel as a whole. If I asked a question that if any Israeli military man that served with the Israeli military force had gone to battle and has lost his life, would you have referred such persons or such person's family or people that have lost their lives, they are servicemen, as victorious? They said no. So apparently, I see oppression. I see unnecessary warmongering, hatred and racism and discrimination in all this. All these are political. Benjamin Netanyahu is not a Christian. It's only when it comes to crisis like this that is when we begin to discuss some biblical shenanigan. Yeah, I will call it biblical shenanigan because the issue here has nothing to do with what is written in the Bible. Because Israel as a nation has been the Israeli, which Moses led out of Egypt well over 4,000 years ago. Remember that Jesus Christ existed over 2,000 years ago. And between Jesus Christ and David were like 2,000 years. Between David and Abraham was like 2,000. So we're talking about like over 4,000 years. And some people in the present time whose existence as the occupation of that land has not been over 100 years are coming to tell you that God gave them a particular land also. That's not sincere. We are educated and we should stop believing all this trash. But the world is like a drama place. Anytime we have crisis like this, we have some people who are for and we have some people who are against. Femi Fani-Kayode now has stood behind Israel as if he himself is a representative of what Christianity holds. We should stop mocking I know a lot of people who are disgraced to the religion, but please, we should stop mocking Christianity by dragging Christianity into this crisis. These are purely political issues and oppression and suppression. Because I see the old shows. There are some videos I cannot even watch myself. I saw a small boy was strangulated to death by an Israeli military. On what ground? A man was crying, an elderly man was crying profusely on CNN, the cable network news, while he was having a program with Christian Ramapo, that the Israeli soldiers came to his house where his granddaughters were sleeping and started shedding ammunition till those kids died. The man couldn't hold his emotion while on international cable news with Christian Ramapo. So one thing I tell people is this: it's even mockery to be associating the name of God or Jesus Christ with what is on ground. This is purely oppression. I have books of Adolf Hitler here, and what Adolf Hitler would say was that he was working for God during the Holocaust. Yes, I have his documentation that the Israelis, they killed Jesus Christ, and he is trying to fight for the cause of Jesus Christ. These are just kind of technical and mental bereavements that occupy the whole country or the whole world. Is America a Christian nation? Does America stand as a defender of the Christian faith? You and I know that, see, America is a producer of pornography, which the Bible or Christian religion against. Same-sex marriage, which because of that God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. Alcoholism, transgender, and all sorts of evil. So you are not going to be bringing, because some Benjamin, what do you call this man? One of the foremost, Benjamin Franklin, because they were Christians, because they believed in God when the foundation, when United States was established, and because of that, you are thinking that America is a Christian nation, or American stand, or that God's blessing is on America. That would be a wrong thing to do. America does not stand for what Christianity is all about. So those people that the likes of Fani-Kayode, Reno Omokiri, Daddy Freeze, they are not Christians. And I've told you repeatedly that there is the foundation of the Lord stands sure. The Lord knows those that are his. Let those that are his depart from iniquity. How can God Almighty be behind violence? These have always been the issue on ground when the several parts of the Bible were documented where they said God said they should go and be killing people and all that. I said, no, God can never be behind violence. God should be peace. You understand? The Bible said in Ecclesiastes chapter 7 verse 29 that God has made everything perfect, but men has become devisers, have gone after several devices. God has given us knowledge, about the human body, about embryology, about how baby grows and develops. We now, that's perfect knowledge. So we now devise a method of removing the baby. Are you going to blame God for that? God has given us, nuclear elements to generate electricity for hundreds of thousands of years, to generate power, to generate mobile automobiles. But we have designed the elements, the radioactive elements, to start making bombs. Are you going to blame God for that? Israel does not represent a Christian nation. America, United States of America, is not a defender of the Christian faith. What is happening on ground now is oppression, is suppression, is victimization, it's hooliganism, it's murder, it's carnage. It's evil. The name of God should not be associated with such. The Christians are not Christians. Let's always get that right. The point is clear. When they want to bring the crisis, I've always told you that what Christianity stands for is different from land claiming and all that. Christianity is all about believing in Jesus Christ, in his way of life that God has revealed to him. And people that call themselves Christians are people that have studied the life of Jesus Christ. That I've told you, Jesus Christ is not God. Jesus Christ is the Son of God. They follow Jesus Christ's ways that they believe will lead them to God. Jesus Christ did not come to this world grabbing land. He was not in this world to be dragging land or properties with people.
Benjamin Adebisi,
Yes, sir.
thank you very much. From what I could understand, from Mr. Benjamin Adebisi's submission, where as much as he's a Christian and the probably vice of the Bible had called Israel God's own land, he does not believe that, he does not agree with the oppression of the Palestinians, contrary to what we obtained from some Christians around. So we have Mr. Olushina Ijadwola, if that is correctly pronounced. So please, we would want to have you speak. You're welcome, Mr. Olushina, please. Or Mr. Olushina, please. Okay, Mr. Olushina, are you with us? Uh, okay, Mr. Olushina, can you hear us? I think you're battling with the network. Mr. Olushina Jadola, I think he is with Israel as far as the discussion is concerned. So it will be very, very, very interesting if that network can be all right and we hear you speak. So yeah, we are still going to wait for Mr. Olushina, please. Can you please say some statements? Let's see if we can hear you, please. Mr. Olushina. I think Mr. Olushina. We are okay, Mr. Lushida, I think what you can do, okay, you know what, why don't you stop your cam and use the microphone alone. That way your network will be better. All right. You can stop your video and use the microphone alone.
Yeah,
If that will make the network better, please. Yes. Yeah. Let's see that. Yeah. Uh Mr. Olishina, I think you should just stop your cam and use the microphone alone. We want to hear your
hello.
case for the state of Israel. Yes, hello, sir. Okay, Mr. Olishina, what is fix your network? No. This is it's terrible. Okay. We cannot hear Mr. Olushina, and I think I have to mute his microphone. So let's hope he fixes his network. And yeah, well, Mr. Olushina, you can always use the private class, and we read out your whatever you write. I think depending on your network is all right. Okay. Whilst we do that, Mr. Benjamin,
Yes, sir.
can you hear me? Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
you are a Christian. You are a Christian,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah, we have heard from. So, in fact, we have Christians organizing services, pray for Israel. All right, against Palestine. We have had several Facebook posts, Twitter, WhatsApp, all those and all that. So you as a Christian, why do you think? Well, you said some things in your introduction. I just wanted you to, yeah, come out clearer before Abu Mazida to you as a Christian, you are not taking sides with Israel. Well, that is strange and that is not strange. So we want you to kind of tell us more about your stance and why you do not necessarily want to follow the average Nigerian Christian. Thank you.
Yes. I want to use the colloquial language follow for most Nigerian Christians. Most of them don't know what Christianity is all about. I am a Bible scholar. I'm a Christian scholar. I have read the Bible for close to 30 years of my life, or even more. So most people don't even know what Christianity is all about. Like I've told you, Christianity is not all about dragging land. It's not about oppression or suppression. Most people, I wouldn't know whether you read my article here, death and
Okay, Mr. Benjamin, I did busy. I did busy first. Now, Abu Mazda,
hello,
you have yeah, you in your
hello, you
introduction.
left.
Okay.
Now, I want you to understand something. That a lot of people are follow, like I said, because I have told you, Israel as a nation is not a Christian nation. America cannot be the defender of Christian faith. So the first thing is to know what Christianity is all about. So let's always get that point clear. The people that are standing in Nigeria, that are fronting, that have claimed to have so much knowledge about the issue, the likes of Renu Omokiri, Daddy Freeze, and Fani Kayode, they are not Christians. They cannot say they are Christians. They are not.
Mr.
So if
Benjamin,
you are
how
not a
about
Christian,
Oyedepo? Mr. Benjamin, how about Oyedepo? And let's leave Omokri, let's
did
leave Daddy
Oyedepo
Freeze.
say he's a Christian? Did he say he's a Christian?
Hmm. Okay.
Has he ever explained to you that this is what Christian faith is all about? He's a
Are
businessman.
you saying, Mr. Benjamin, are you saying that anyone who supports Israel against Palestine is not a Christian?
No Christian will support evil. I want you to know that.
Okay.
No Christian will support evil. What we are seeing right now, what I've seen in the last 20 years I've been monitoring this war. What I see are oppression, suppression, victimization, and marginalization. Starting from, I said 20 years ago because I was well intelligent. I could see things myself 20 years ago. I don't want to bring the issue of 1967 because Wikipedia will always write in support of Israel, how they won the war. They are not going to give you account of Israeli military forces that were killed. They are not going to tell you a lot of people that were rendered widows. A lot of children are rendered fatherless because their parents served in the military. So Israel are going to tell you they won a 6-day war. So I'm not going to give you the account of 1967. I met a German and he gave me another story. For most people in this part of the world, and in most parts of the world, they will believe that America or Britain conquered Adolf Hitler. As I speak right now, there are regions, there are people that believe in the Nazis and Adolf Hitler are still occupying in Germany as I speak. I spoke with a German. I was in Netherlands very close. I went to Germany, but I was in Netherlands and I met a German there and we spoke about Adolf Hitler. So most times you don't see the truth on the social media. Sorry for a little digression. Look at what is happening in Nigeria presently, where people are talking about Islamization of Nigeria. And just look at that. Now, if you were not in Nigeria, somebody will tell you that there are some Islamic caliphate, that Buhari is a Fulani man and all he's doing is trying to Islamize Nigeria. Is that the truth? But if somebody in Brazil, if somebody in Germany is watching the media, what he's going to have at the back of his mind is that the president of Nigeria is killing his people and is trying to Islamize Nigeria. And I went on social media attacking Igbo and his supporters. That is Buhari my problem. The people giving me problem where I work are the so-called Christians, the so-called Yoruba people. So nobody's going to tell me now that Buhari is
Mr.
Islamizing me and that's why we want to
Mr.
break
Benjamin,
away.
Mr. Benjamin,
That aside,
okay,
sorry,
Mr.
let me
Benjamin,
conclude my
okay,
point. Let me conclude my point, please. That aside,
okay, all right,
back to the nation of
okay,
Israel,
okay.
what we are seeing right now has nothing to do with Christianity. This is pure politics and a form of encroachment. Okay, look, what was the United Nations resolution about Gaza Strip? But Israel have gone to occupy the land. What was United Nations resolution about occupation of that land? And Israel have built accommodation in those places. I'm talking about Gaza Strip. So you're not going to tell me now that God has given a land. We all know that that land was lent to Israel. But I don't want to go into all those history. Israel do not have any land in that region. But what is happening right now is basically carnage. They went to the United Nations never recognized Palestine as a nation. Do you know that?
Mr.
Do you know that the United Nations did not recognize Palestine as a nation? And that itself is suppression. That itself is discrimination. So the America is funding NATO,
All right,
and NATO
Mr.
is like the watchdog of the United Nations. And what you have in all this shenanigans is America telling United Nations what to do. But everybody knows what is happening right now. That is evil. No Christian will support evil.
Mr. Benjamin
Anybody that
Adewusi,
approves.
thank you very much. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Adegboyeke Success Adekule, I hope you are taking note of that. Mr. Benjamin Adebisi is of the opinion that anyone who supports Israel against Palestine is not a Christian. All right. So we have Abu Mazidat Trade, his experience. He knows a whole lot about the Middle East history and the politics. Now, before we move on to look at the solution, it should be understood that a public broadcast. I have a whole lot of people on my Facebook and Twitter everywhere, and all those who are part of the open space discourse. So we invited everyone, those in support of Israel and those in support of Palestine. So those who come, so we did not necessarily gang up against Israel or had people of just the same opinion. That's important. So that we have this ongoing crisis and war. So now, what exactly is your opinion? You give us an idea as to the history of the place. Before we go on to look at the solution, so what exactly is your opinion about everything that is ongoing? And then secondly, I don't know. I'm sorry, I did not include it. I don't know if anyone has seen this book or document. It escaped my mind. What's the title? The protocols of the learned elders of Zion. So I don't know if anyone has seen that book or that document. We could include it in our discussion as well. So Abu Mazidati, please, you have the microphone. You have about 5 to 10 minutes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Let me start again by appreciating the gentleman, Mr. DBC, who had just spoken. In fact, I was really impressed. I was seeing for the first time a Nigerian who is completely objective, who is not loyal to his sentiments and prejudice. May God bless his intelligence. As he was talking, I was monitoring from a distance to see if he's just a mere emotional being or is a brain on himself. And I can see that he knows what he's saying. He's an intellectual and he has really spoken the truth. And one other thing which he has done, and for the safety of our country, is that he's among the few Christians, sincere ones, who could realize that Israel is not a Christian nation. Those who perform pilgrimage to Jerusalem, they know how embarrassed they are whenever the Jewish tourist guide would have to introduce them to what should be their holy places. Getting to Bethlehem, those guys will say, look, this is where your God is born. This is where your God. In fact, with derogatory tongue, I've been to this place. So, and I don't know why Nigerian Christians, maybe because of our own local politics, why they get so much deceived. Do you understand? To believe that Israel has gotten anything to do with. And you know that even these Jews, they respect Muslims than they respect the Christians. If Christians really want to be subservient to the historical background of their faith system, Jews, they should rather be biased against the Jews. Because what we know is that Jews were those who were responsible for the crucifixion of Christ. Having said that, so I appreciate Mr. Adebisi for being sincere, for being objective. He has spoken well. Then just clear that, I still want to add that the occurrence of the recent crisis, we all know how it started. This, it was in the month of Ramadan. Muslims were praying. The last 10 days of Ramadan is a period usually devoted for spiritual interaction with Allah. So Muslims were in the mosque and the Israeli Jews came. they tear gas them, they threw grenades, they started shooting, I mean, violating the sanctity of the mosque. And this ordinarily, predictably, would provoke the Muslims, and it generated a lot of resistance. And hence, we have this present problem. And we can see that from different parts of the world, not only in the Muslim world, different parts of the world, from Colombia to the UK, US to Vienna to Germany to South Africa, human beings, we are not talking about Muslims, human beings, because humanity is what binds us together. Human beings have come up to condemn what Israel has been doing. The only people who have consistently supported Israel is the American government, as we can see. So that is enough consolation for the Palestinians. And again, another thing I want to add is that Israeli aggression is against the Palestinians, whether Christians or Muslims. It's not only Muslim. That's another thing that the Nigerian Christians are not aware of because of their myopic perception of issues. They also attack Christians' holy sites. They attack Christians, Christian Arabs too, in the Holy Land. This is another thing. Yes. But however, I want to say that this problem, it shall continue to occur and reoccur until America resolves to put aside the influence of the Jewish lobby. What controls the United States of America today and a chunk of the Western nations is what is known as the Jewish lobby. Jews have very strong influence on their system. What is responsible for this, I do not know. We can see the recent occurrences that if you try to criticize or you find fault with Israelis' aggression or method of prosecuting the war, Facebook will have to ban you. That is another thing. So it's a very pathetic situation. I'm yet to understand the relationship between the entrepreneur behind Facebook business and the Jewish state of Israel. I also want to add that the problem here is not a problem between Muslims and the Jews. No, there are a number of Jews who are vehemently opposed to what Israel is doing. It's a problem between the Zionist Jews. Zionism is the dangerous ideology that is really causing the problem, that is running the world into serious disaster. Zionism. What is Zionism? Zionism is an ideology which stipulates that the world should be controlled by the Jews because they are the chosen people. That is what Zionism is all about. Not all Jews believe in this ideology. There are a number of righteous Jewish rabbis, religious men, and ordinary men who are opposed to this ideology. So what is being used to persecute the Arabs of Palestine, Muslims or Christians, is the weapon of Zionism. And what we are opposed to is this weapon, dangerous weapons, this evil called Zionism. And that is all. So we shouldn't be surprised if we have some Jews too who are supportive, who are in solidarity to the Palestinian cause. That is another thing which we really need to know. Judaism, Christianity, Islam, these are three Abrahamic faiths. We call them three Abrahamic faiths. The three religions believe in the relevance of Prophet Abraham alayhi salam. They believe in it. So it's only those who have invented this ideology of Zionism, like the moderator mentioned, the protocols of the elders of the Zion. This is a book I think I read more than 30 years ago. I mean, all what is contained in the book is being implemented every day. How the word came about the book is God knows. but it's just the reality, and we can see what is happening. The stability in the whole of the Muslim world, or especially the Arab world, Israel is the evil behind it. I mean, when you talk about, if you talk in those days, in the communist era, we have USSR as a communist nation. Till today, we have United States, Britain, and others as capitalist nation. In the same way, we have the Jewish state of Israel as a Zionist nation. That is the ideology that runs Israel. And that is why they are always belligerent and they are always delighted at spitting blood. May God assist us. I think this is all I can say here. If we need to continue to trace the historical evolution of the whole crisis,
Uh, Thank you very much, sir. That is fantastic. I
we
think it's
shouldn't
one
come here
hour
to raise
seven.
emotion. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, all right. So we actually sent out letters and mails to those who are to Israel, and we think none of them came around. Yeah, none of them came around. Okay, we have a new comment. Okay, so yeah, so we have so a question. What is solution. We still have Ahmed Zakaria with us. So he's asking Mr. Ahmed Zakaria, can you hear me? So we have a question. What is the solution? Is two-state solution feasible again? So I want our current speaker, Julius Jackson, to help us dissect the well, I said to dissect the hypocrisy of Saudi Arabia. I okay. So solution, two-state solution, is it feasible again? And Saudi Arabia see
Uh,
anything like that. Yes.
yes, thank you very much. Yes, this problem started with the option of two-state creation, that there should be a Palestinian state and there should be an Israeli state. But those who, I mean, those who, when
Uh, Mr. Abu Mazdatil froze. Is Ahmad Zakaria around? Mr. Ahmad? Okay, I think we okay, yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, so
Can you hear?
yeah, what do you think is the solution to the ongoing crisis?
Yes, actually, currently, uh, most of the nations support the two-state solution, and we call for an immediate ceasefire from both sides. The workers should stop, and the attacks from Israel also should stop. The settlements should stop. All those illegal settlements should stop. They should stop provocations that they are constantly doing, uh, that is targeting the worshippers in the mosque, like the one that we saw during Ramadan. Those are unnecessary provocations that need to stop. And they need to stop displacing people from their houses, like they tried to do in Sheikh Jarrah. It's very unfortunate, those things that they are trying to do. That's that's ideally the two-state solution is the best. But currently, uh, up to now, a lot of people don't recognize the Palestinian state. Americans they don't recognize, but things are in progress. Discussions are being held behind doors, and other nations are trying to see that this becomes a reality. As for the second, I think the third question that he's asking, that the section of hypocrisy of Saudi Arabia, I think it is very unfortunate and rather unfair to say hypocrisy of Saudi Arabia, because hypocrisy is something of the heart. It's very difficult to assess or measure a whole country and say the country is hypocritical about a cause. It's not fair to say that hypocrisy of Saudi Arabia. We can't say Saudi Arabia is hypocritical. We can't say that. It's very difficult to say, okay, this place is hypocritic, this one is hypocritic, because you don't know the things that you don't know the sacrifices that Saudi Arabia as nation has done to the Palestinian cause. You don't know a lot of things they have lost. You don't know the discussions they have been doing. You don't know the votes, a lot of things, the help that they have been to them. So it's difficult to say, okay, this person is hypocritic, this one is the one that is right, this silence. Sometimes just because we see people are silent doesn't mean they don't have something to say. Sometimes people feel that being silent sometimes is the best thing. And sometimes we assume that people are silent just because we can't hear them. Just because you can't hear Saudi Arabia shouting like other nations talking doesn't mean they are keeping quiet. They are having a lot of other channels to discuss with the people that matter. Maybe they have called directly to the United States Secretary of State. A lot of things, we don't know what they have done. So it's not fair to say, okay, hypocrisy of Saudi Arabia. I think we need to rethink it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ahmed Zakaria. So, okay, okay, question for okay, Biola Ibrahim. Actually, is no longer around. That the occupants of state of Israel are not the original Jews. What happened to those period of Jews that left Egypt with Prophet Musa, or have they gone into extinction? Unfortunately, we do not have Mr. KB Ola Ibrahim around. I think we have had a very beautiful discussion, and where we had no pro-Israel. Okay, Abu Mazidat Khair is around. Okay. Okay, yeah,
Can I
you are welcome back.
continue?
Yes, please, sir.
Thank
You
you.
can.
So those who were advocating, initially when this issue of two-state solution was put forward to the table, the Palestinians were resistant. They were not comfortable with it because they believe that the whole of the land belongs to them and they wouldn't want to share it with anybody. That the Israelis, they were strangers, they were aliens. But even now that they are willing to tolerate the two-state solution, Israel is not prepared because at the initial stage, as the United Nations, this issue was being discussed. A lot of resolution was passed to divide the land between the Jewish and the Arabs. I mean, people. Even at this stage, those who were pushing for it, the world power, they were not unaware of their ultimate goal in the region. And that is what is being achieved now. The intention primarily is to eliminate the Palestinians and to establish the Jewish hegemony on the land. That is number one. Now, talking about this two-state solution, yes, I mean, it's a kind of lesser evil. The Arabs wouldn't mind, but the Israelis, because what was behind the recent aggression was that the Israelis announced that they were taking some lands from the Arabs to give to the Jews. That was what they were doing. And the Arabs continued to protest. They continued to protest. And the only thing they could provoke their anger the more was by attacking the Holy Land, Jerusalem, attacking by attacking Masjid al-Aqsa, the third, the holiest sanctuary, and which was what they did. So the issue of the solution of the two-state solution, I don't know how that could work now because Israel is not interested in it. If the Arabs are willing to live, they should rather live on the land, in their own ancestral land, like slaves. That's the expectation of Israel. Then number two, about what someone called Saudi's hypocrisy. I find it difficult to identify an hypocrite because even the Holy Prophet Muhammad did not identify, did not publicly declare anybody an hypocrite. He only told one of his companions, he mentioned their names. So I know those things, those factors, those characteristics of an hypocrite as derived from prophetic traditions. But I find it difficult to label Saudi Arabia a land where Tawheed is upheld, a land where the Sunnah of Muhammad Sallallahu is encouraged, even with its lapses and some shortcomings on the part of his government. I find it difficult to believe that it's an hypocritical nation. But I want to say that all Arab nations, none of them has been helpful. You can imagine recently, Morocco reconciled with Israel less than 6 months ago. Sudan reconciled with Israel. Algeria reconciled with Israel. And a number of them that had broken relationship with Israel before, even United Arab Emirates. And we have it on good authority as experts that all of this had occurred with the consent of Saudi Arabia. It's not so easy for Saudi Arabia at instant because of the kind of revolt and rebellion that may emerge in the country. But even with this, we can't hold Saudi alone accountable. What's the strength of Saudi Arabia? Saudi is not as powerful. Egypt is more powerful than Saudi Arabia. Which other country? Algeria, one of the strongest military in Africa, is more powerful than Saudi Arabia. So what do you think Saudi should do? I don't know. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us aright. Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah. Well, so thank you, sir. We have a KB. Oh yeah, very fine, KB. Someone has a question for you. So Ahmed Zakaria, I think probably viewers disagreed with you if you want to reply him. But we have KB. So there is a question for you. So you claim that the Jews, the present occupants of Israel, are not the original Jews. Do you have an idea of what happened to those breed of Jews that left Egypt and are being gone into extinction? I think I read something about that in from Babylon to the book too. So I think it's your question. Yeah, so KB, over to you, sir.
Wait. Hello, are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes, yes. So uh, uh, Mr. Ahmed and Zakaria, okay. So I think okay, someone disagreed with you anyway. Okay, so we have KB. Is KB here? I think he's the one to answer the next question. Yeah, Mr. KB, can you hear me? Okay, so Ahmed Zakaria, I think before KB is internet, do you want to reply the what's it called?
Okay.
This viewer. So you about okay.
Okay, this I can see the comment is saying that Saudi Arabia did not blink twice before it bombed Yemen. Okay, what is happening in Yemen should not be mixed with what is happening in Palestine. They are two different things.
Exactly.
Because in Yemen we have a legitimate government and we have a rebel government of the Houthis. Houthis are not even a government; they are a terrorist group. They have been recognized as a terrorist group that are targeting Saudi Arabia. They are targeting the oil installations in Saudi Arabia. They are targeting even Mecca. They shot rockets and drones at Mecca. So they are a terrorist group. It's normal for Saudi Arabia to bomb them, to try and exterminate them, just like Nigeria too is trying to exterminate some terrorists. So it's normal. It's nothing new. What I want to quickly comment on is the normalization of ties that Sheikh Abu Mazid al Khair is saying that the Arab nations are not helping the Palestinian issue. I think the Arab nations have helped the Palestinian issue a lot more than we can even say that they haven't helped the Palestinian issue. Because today there were some Palestinian countries, there were some non-Palestinian countries That Palestinians will enter without a passport, without visa. They will just enter like the ECOWAS. They will enter, they will study for free, they will get an education for free, they will work as citizens. All these things they matter because it helps in elevating the Palestinians from poverty. If you look at the poverty rates of Nigerians and compare it with the poverty rates of Palestinians, you see that the Palestinians, with these challenges that they are having, they are richer than Nigerians. That's number one. If you look at the illiteracy rate of Palestinians and compare it with that of Nigerians, you will see that Palestinians are far, far more educated than Nigerians. So the Arab nations have helped Palestinians in a lot of ways, in as much as they couldn't get their lands back for them. They have given them other things. They have given them right to stay in their countries. They have given them education. They give them, uh, they give them money. All this, even this current wars that we are seeing between the Palestinian factions and Israel, the money
Okay.
is not
So good.
produced inside.
Sorry, Ahmad. I think this is a very good question, and this is what I was going to ask. So I think we should, you should, yeah, let Abu Mazidatir take this question, and you could take the question after him. So thanks, sir. But with huge influence and romance. Now, because there is the argument that when I had a live stream, I think about 4 days ago, and so there was this white guy who came and said that what's happening, that we have a whole lot of people who are standing with Palestine, but nothing is happening. So I let him know that there's a difference between numbers and power. There is the number and there is a power. And we have many powerful Islamic nations as well. So if maybe the Palestinians are Arabs and the majority of them are Muslims as well, and then they have gained the support of many Muslims and non-Muslims alike. So why is it? So now some have now argued that we cannot successfully, you know, fight for the rights of the Palestinians, when we have top Islamic nations, romancing the USA, which is, an ally of Israel. Like, for example, you have Saudi Arabia opposed to Israel, which we believe, and you have Saudi Arabia as an ally to USA, and then the USA sells weapons as an ally also to Israel. So how can Saudi Arabia now protect the interest of Palestine? So I think that's a kind of web. So the question here now is but with huge influence and romance of Saudi Arabia with USA, okay, they can still make something happen. For example, when the USA tried to release 11, Saudi did pull a string, which made USA government to drop the idea. So what is stopping Saudi Arabia from using such influence to get USA to consent to some Palestinians want? Because once USA approves something, Israel will follow suit. So remember how Donald Trump recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. I don't know if that question is clear. If it is not, I could come again. And if it is, please, Abu Mazidatir, I think you would want to address that. And while Abu Mazidatir does that, Mr. KB, there's a question for you about your claim that the Jews there today are not the original Jews. So someone is asking you what happened to those ones in Egypt and have they gone into extinction?
Yeah,
So
sorry. I'm having a little bit. Hello,
obviously, yeah. So
hello.
let
Please,
Abu
can you come
Yes,
again?
that take
thank you.
his question first.
Thank you very much.
Having
Let me quickly
Mr.
clear.
KB.
a
Okay,
little problem
let me
with my
quickly clear.
reception here. It's very bad.
Yeah, let me quickly
Uh,
clear two things. Number one, the last speaker making
I
a view
just I just
that.
got home from the.
Okay, am I still on? Okay,
Yes, sir, you are.
okay. The last speaker declaring a view that the Houthis in Yemen is a terrorist group. That is a big blasphemy. I'm an expert. And I've tried as much as possible to conceal my professionalism in this area because I see this as a very casual discussion. Even you will see that I've been so much careful in the way I analyze events. How can you call Houthis a terrorist organization? How do you define terrorism? When you leave Saudi Arabia's interest in Yemen, Saudi Arabia's interest in Yemen is nothing short the violation of a neighbor's territorial integrity. That is all. Just like Nigeria, because there is a rebel group in Benin Republic, Nigerian army now attacking Benin Republic for whatever reason in international politics or in diplomacy. I mean, this is not welcome. It's wrong, absolutely wrong. So just even as we have Boko Haram here, unless the Nigerian government specifically invites the military, maybe the American military, to come around to help, it is wrong for a foreign country to come around violating our territorial integrity. Saudi Arabia bombing Yemen is absolutely wrong for whatever reason. Why is Saudi Arabia in Yemen? Simply because the Houthis there, they are Shia, and they are Shia to Zaydiyah. The Shia to Zaydiyah are the most liberal of the Shia, but is still an heretic doctrine. And because they believe that Iran has control over them, and you see this diplomatic rivalry between Iran and Saudi Arabia. And for that reason, Saudi Arabia goes there, and that is why Saudi Arabia wouldn't want to go alone. They took Sudan along, there was Pakistan. Some of these countries, they lure them with resources so that they wouldn't be accused alone for bombing, and a lot of children have died there. So to call Houthis a terrorist organization, how do you define terrorism? Take, for example, Lebanon, Hezbollah of Nasrallah in Lebanon. Lebanese government does not declare it a terrorist organization. They believe it's a legitimate party in Lebanon. But some countries have declared it a terrorist organization. The countries that harbors the organization does not declare it a terrorist organization. So I need to clarify that. Now, number two, talking about the Arab countries helping Palestine. What do we call help? Are you talking about scholarship and sponsorship? Do you know the implication? When two countries, let me go into diplomacy, which is my area. When a country breaks a relationship with another country, it causes a lot of damage. Then when a country, that particular country now opens a relationship, reconciles the ties, diplomatic ties with the country, it enriches the country with which, the tide is cemented. It enriches the country, not necessarily in terms of finance, not necessarily in terms of material improvements. So these are some of the things that has happened. That Morocco, Algeria, and these small countries, United Arab Emirates, they have done all these things. It's a big setback for the Middle East crisis, a big setback for the Palestinians. And that is why their people, they are almost revolting against them. That is that. Do you know what is happening in Egypt now? That when the Palestinians are persecuted and they need to escape the persecution, Egypt had blocked the channel through which they could escape. So they will have to be there and suffer the persecution. Number two, which Egypt has done, is that there is a tunnel through which ammunition is channeled to the militants in Palestine to resist the Israeli aggression. This tunnel has been blocked. During Morsi's period, it was opened temporarily. Before Morsi, it was blocked. After Morsi, when Sisi came in, it was blocked. This is like conspiring with Israel to kill the Arab Muslims. So it's a very big problem. It's beyond this. I wouldn't talk more than this. The way I would talk as an expert is different from the way another person would talk. Now, coming to the issue of Saudi Arabia, that Saudi's relationship with United States of America, that Saudi could have influenced the United States of America. Brothers, let me tell you, and this is just the absolute truth. Now, each country is defending its own interest. No country is that interested in the Palestinian question again. No country. And I will explain this. In 1948, immediately Israel, the infant state of Israel declared its own existence. Arabs were mobilized, Arab countries. Even there were volunteers from some organizations, ideological groups across the Arab world to resist the annexation of Palestine. And for whatever reason, they tried, but they didn't do well. Then there was another one, that was in 1948. There was another one in 1956. Then there was another one in 1967, Arab-Israeli War. And there was another one in 1973. In that of 1973, I should salute the effort of Anwar Sadat, the tyrant of Egypt, and Hafiz al-Assad, the father of this Bashir al-Assad. They were already moving into victory before they were deceived by the Western nations, America in particular. Henry Kissinger, the American Secretary of State then, had to call for a ceasefire. You know, they were pushing for victory. They had almost destroyed the whole of Israel, Egypt and Syria. They had almost collapsed the whole of Israel in 1973. And America saw this coming into daylight. What did they say? Quickly, Henry Kissinger, that famous American Secretary of State, had to call for a ceasefire, that both sides, they should move back. Their military moved back, and the ceasefire, the area bombardment ceased. Then what happened? They equipped Israel. By the time they would resume fighting, Israel became more powerful. And that was how the two countries were mercilessly dealt with. The 1967 war, the Arab-Israel war, we know what happened. Anyway, I shouldn't be going, we know what happened with the Shabra and Shatila in Lebanon in 1986. So what I just want to say, and the story of Ari Sharon is there. But what I just want to say, in essence, is that Saudi Arabia is absolutely and practically not interested in the freedom of the Palestinian people. That is just the truth. Not only Saudi, even United Arab Emirates. And you will see, the whole world will see what will follow. Every country has reconciled with Israel, except Saudi Arabia. And we all know that there is always a relationship between the two countries. If you want me to analyze it further, I will analyze it, and I open it with documents. So that's the issue. So whether America should now influence, Saudi Arabia should influence America. What influence do you think Saudi can have upon America, except economic influence anyway? And America, when someone is richer than you, and you are stronger and more powerful than the person, there is likelihood that the person will fear you more than you fear the person. I mean, if you have the power, you have the military strength, there is likelihood. Saudi saw what happened to Saddam in Iraq, what happened to Gaddafi, what is happening to Bashar. So they saw all this, to Assad. They saw all these things, and they have to tread gently. So that is what is wrong. I want to believe, and I join those who clamor that the Palestinian question is an Islamic problem. It's not an Arab issue.
Sir,
the only solution.
Abu sir, please, can you, for some minutes, let us hear what Ahmad Zakaria has to say about what you have said so far, sir?
Yeah.
All right. So, Mr. Ahmad Zakaria, please, you have the microphone.
Okay, no problem. So the issue is like this. First of all, the Houthi is a terrorist organization by all ramifications and definitions to Saudi Arabia. The Houthi is he's claimed, okay, Abu Mazidatul Khair is saying he's a specialist or what, I don't even understand. But I want to tell you that people are now more enlightened than before. It's not like before that you just say, okay, you know it more than others, please. People know what is going on now. The leader of the Houthis is Abdul Malik al-Houthi. And Abdul Malik al-Houthi, they were the people that believe they are from Ahlul Bayt. They are Shia Zaydiyah. Definitely. Shia Zaydiyah is near to Malikiya and near to Sunnah, but they are not Ahlul Sunnah al Jama'ah. They are Shia. So the issue is they believe that they are the owners of Yemen. They believe that they own Yemen. So they believe that their ancestors own Yemen, so they can do and undo. And there is a legitimate government in Yemen of Abdurrabbu Hadi Mansour. He is the president. that is recognized by Saudi Arabia and other Khalij nations and other Arab nations when they mediated in the removal of the previous president. He was the one that was installed as the president. But the Houthis came and did a coup against him, removed him from Sana'a, and took Sana'a. So, by all ramifications, the Houthis are a terrorist organization, and it is not only Saudi Arabia that fought them. Saudi Arabia fought them, UAE fought them, Qatar fought them, most of the nations fought them. It's just that later, the Khalij Ittihad, the United Khalij nations, got a problem and they scattered. But at the end of the day, Houthi remains a terrorist organization that is shooting rockets that they imported from Iran into Saudi Arabia, into Mecca, into this thing. The issue is like this. Let us be clear and blunt. The Muslim Brotherhood, they are with Houthis. Most Muslim Brotherhood, they are supporting Houthi because they believe that, okay, Houthi, we are together, we are one, we are this. No, it's not like that. The things that is happening is bigger than that. You cannot be shooting rockets into Mecca, cannot be destroying oil installations and be saying you are one with this kind of people. The Iranians, they have an agenda, and that agenda cannot happen. It cannot be allowed to happen near Saudi Arabia. It's as clear as that. That's number one. Number two, Palestine and Egypt. So the Abu Mazar al-Khair is saying that, okay, Egypt, they did not do a lot, talking about scholarship. You think it is, nobody is saying it's only about scholarship. A lot of things Egypt did to Palestine. You are underestimating the magnitude of sacrifice that Egypt did to Palestine, Syrians did for Palestine, Urdun, that's Jordan. These people sacrificed a lot of things for Palestine. And it will be an understatement to come and say they didn't do enough. What do you want them to do? You want them to be flying and be picking these Israelis and be putting them in the ocean? It's not possible. Even Anwar Sadat that you mentioned, his video is there. He said, Anama Agdershi, I cannot. That we will be saying that, okay, we will wipe out Israel. It's not possible. We cannot do it. Anwar Sadat mentioned that specifically by himself. This is something that cannot be happening. And you are saying that Egypt, okay, Egypt is closing. First of all, there is Ma'bar Rafah. That is where they are crossing. That's the official border between Egypt and Gaza Strip. It was opened. It was opened recently. And when it was opened, they sent in aid for them. They send in ambulances. You didn't see all that. Okay, all that is part of the things that Egypt is doing. They are sending in aid, food, sending in ambulances. Doctors are going there to help so that the Hamas one Ministry of Health does not fall. The government in Gaza does not fall. That's why they are helping. So it's not fair to say, okay, Egypt is not doing anything. The Arab nations are not doing anything. We have to say things based on facts, not on emotions, or because we are with part of group, we will say, okay, Mursi did more, Sisi did not do more. Just because Mursi was Ikhwan al-Muslimin doesn't mean we should say Sisi doesn't care about Gaza. It's not fair. It's not fair. The facts does not support this kind of allegations. That's another one. And then when you talk about Saudi Arabian influence on the Palestinian issue, we should not underestimate Saudi Arabia. This is the part of the things that is causing the whole trouble. When Hamas and other factions go to Iran and seek for help from Iran and praise Iran and praise Qasem Soleimani and praise them on top of Saudi Arabia will not be happy about these things. When you show like the things that Saudi Arabia is doing, it's not doing enough. It's not like this, and you lambast them in public, you prey on them in public, they will not be happy with you. Saudi Arabia has sacrificed a lot for the Palestinian issue. When we look at Malik Fahd, during the war, they cut the oil supply to America. A lot of things. We cannot just wake up one day and say, okay, Saudi Arabia is not doing anything, because we didn't see Saudi Arabia carry the military into Gaza Strip or into Palestine. It's not fair. We have to argue based on facts. Please, can you allow me to finish the idea I'm trying? Please don't cut me. Please let me finish. Right. I have not finished. Please calm down.
5 minutes, please. 5 minutes.
Let me finish.
All right.
When we say no country is interested in the Palestinian issue, I think it's unfair to say no country is interested in Palestinian issue. Nobody holds the monopoly of interest in the Palestinian issue. The thing we are disagreeing upon is the approach. When you approach it, some people believe that, okay, first of all, we want the Palestinians to be educated. We want them to have this. We want them to have education, proper healthcare, proper supply of water, proper electricity, proper this. And then later we say, okay, we will fight this one. But we don't just say, okay, let's be fighting, firing them, no matter what. Some people don't believe that. And then when we say Saudi Arabia is practically not interested, I think that is a grievous and mischievous allegation against Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is trying a lot of things for Palestinians. And even the Palestinians themselves will not say this thing. But you know, some people are taken away by sentiments, group mentality. The Muslim Brotherhood, generally, they believe that, okay, Saudi Arabia is a traitor country. Saudi Arabia, because they're having relationship with the Israelis, they are traitors, they are this, they are insulting. I don't understand why this kind of things should be done. It's not fair. When we know that Saudi Arabia did not support a lot of things that
Brothers, you have spoken enough. Let another person talk. Nobody has come here to talk about. Please, you have talked enough. When they stopped me, I spoke. I stopped.
Not
You should be mature. I think you are an intellectual. No. You have spoken enough. When I was stopped, I stopped.
You see, the issue is like this.
Please, the moderator stopped him. When you stopped me,
I have muted Ahmed Zakaria. I have muted him.
Let me tell you something.
Hold on, sir. Please hold on, sir. Let me say this. Now, Ahmed Zakaria, you see, even from the introduction, I have stopped people and people agree. I think and so I don't want you. I wouldn't want you to be infamous for not. I just don't know. Well, yeah. You have said something. Abu Mazidati is going to reply, and then you are going to also give me a response. This we spent 1 hour 53 minutes. Well, I have all the time anyway, but I think we also have a time we definitely have to go. But the discussion can go on as far as the discussant would want to continue. But there's a question I would be having anyway for Ahmed Zakaria, which is going to probably reply to after Abu Mazid Atif Khair. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give six minutes for each speaker. I think that's going to be all right. So Adeboye, in case Adekule, you are here. So please take note of that 6 minutes each. One question I'll be having, or maybe not a question, maybe just a submission, is that now we look at what do Muslim nations owe Palestine? What do Muslim nations owe Palestine? Now, we know we have Masjid al-Aqsa, and then we have the Palestinians who are there. And given the fact that they are the closest, I think we want to think maybe, wow, maybe they are, let's say, well, maybe technically the protectors of the place that Allah has put there for us. So probably that is why many Muslims think that the Muslim nations owe the Palestinians a certain form of, protection. So now I think when we understand that, we probably might start to understand why people look at maybe Saudi Arabia, maybe UAE, or any other Muslim nation that has ties with America, and America having ties with Israel, and why it has become so difficult, for us to have a peaceful resolution there. So I think so. There are some paradoxes that have to be solved. That is just a submission anyway. So Abu Mazidati, you have 6 minutes. This is 9:10 where I am. I think that should be 10:10 where you are. So a big 9:11. So by 10:17 in Nigeria, and then please, sir.
I'm not even going to spend up to 5 minutes. Quickly, the Palestinian question is beyond sectarianism. It's beyond Hizbiyya wa Ta'assub. I want to say that is the biggest problem within the Ummah today. And for that reason, it will be unfair for us to always reduce it to an encounter between the Salafis and the Ikhwani. As I was talking, I did not come here with any feelings or agenda to push for Ikhwani rule in the whole issue, and I've never said it. You understand? Even when they ask me about Saudi Arabia, that what do I think they could have done? When someone refer to Saudi Arabia as an hypocritical nation, I try to correct that. That is not part of, because I know that with a sense of sincerity, this is an issue that is far beyond sectarianism. And it's one issue that I see as an act of worship. So my brother who had just spoken, even though if I'm publicly identified with the Muslim Brotherhood, when we come to a table discussing this kind of issue, we should try as much as possible to suppress our prejudice and bias. I was talking as an expert. Brother, I was just talking. I wrote a book in 2001. I have documented all this. The ambassador of Palestine to Nigeria, Samir Bakr, wrote forward to it. I have visited most of these places. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us. May Allah assist us in liberating the Palestine. And may Allah console the believer. May Allah ease the affairs of the Muslim and the Muslim world. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. All right. Ahmed Zakaria, do you have anything to say to that? Yeah.
Okay. Inshallah, we
Six
pray that
minutes,
Allah,
9:19,
uh,
and we can, okay, all right.
okay. I pray that Allah remove the removes in us the urge to win for our group, to say, okay, it is our group that is right. We should try and listen to other people. We should listen to what the Saudis have to say about this, what the UAE, what is their plan about it in UAE, what is their plan about it in Oman, what is their plan about it in Jordan, what is the Egyptian plan, what is their plan, what is their master plan. We should not just say, okay, all these people are traitors, these people don't love Palestine, these people don't want Islam. It's not fair. Nobody has the monopoly of truth. Only Allah knows what is the truth and who is with the truth. So we should try and listen to others and not just discard them. That's my point.
Okay. All right. I think that's all for the night. All right. So thank you very much, everyone. We appreciate those who started with us and could not end, and those who started with us and end with us as well. It has been a very beautiful night, and this video is going to be in the public space for researchers, for leaders, for people who want to learn about the situation, and this is going to help us in understanding that the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and this is going to be our own contribution to humanity. So have a good night, everyone.